Hello everyone and welcome to Mobility Academy and the flexibility guy, Coach Elia. And in today's video I'm going to show you a beautiful exercise to stretch your glutes and your hips, which you probably already know, alright, but I want to explain to you how to get the best out from this stretch right here. But since we'll be talking about hips flexibility, legs flexibility, let me show you my brand new book, Split Stacking, which is the complete playbook to learn the splits and drastically improve your flexibility level. So if you want to improve your flexibility level and you also want to master the splits, because as I always say, splits are flexibility. If you master the splits, you'll master your lower body flexibility. Then I strongly suggest you check out this book. Follow me the link in the description down below. All right, with that said, let's start. Alright guys, so all you need to do this exercise here is a pair of yoga blocks like these, alright, and a pillow as well. Now you may know this exercise as the Pigeon Pose coming from yoga, but you may find this exercise also in many other contexts as well. But now, we're going to talk about this exercise here in much greater detail, trying to understand how to stretch your glutes following the correct technique, all right? So you do want to do this exercise here on floor. And you have one leg in front of you and one leg back, like this. So you want to start like this, because you want to understand the position of your front leg. Now, some of you may find this position really stressful for your hips, for your knees, maybe for your ankles. So the first thing I suggest you do here is to place one yoga block, all right, under your front hip, like this. And this way you're gonna create a much easier stretch. And now, of course, since you have one yoga block under your front hip, you want to place another yoga block under your front knee as well. In this way you have your front leg really aligned with your body. All right, now from this position, if you want to create the stretch, you want to do two things. The first one is to anterior tilt, which means that you don't want to like close your spine like this. You do want to open your spine, and you do want to roll your pelvis here, which means that you don't want to sit back like this. You want to open your hips, which means that you're arching your lower back here. All right, so you're arching your lower back, you're opening your lower back, all right, and you're in anterior pelvic tilt like this. The second thing you want to do is when you are here, so you have your anterior pelvic tilt in place, you do want to bring your body down. In this way, you're going to increase the stress on your glutes. But a lot of people just do that, losing the activation on their hips. So make sure as you go down, you don't flex your spine, you don't curve your spine. You just stay open, you drive your head in front of you, and you just go down, trying to anterior tilt as much as you can. If you do that correctly, you're going to feel the right amount of tension in your glutes. All right? But now, this is just a starting position. The way you're gonna create more and more stretch is by extending your posterior leg, all right? So the front leg remains in the same position. As you can see, to start, your front leg is really bent here, so your foot is not in line with your front knee, slightly more towards your body. So you want to start here. I'm showing you the progression, all right? So to create more stretch, you do want to straighten this leg. So as you can see now, I'm doing that little by little, because I do want to feel, when I feel the stretch, all right, and I want to understand how far can I straighten my leg. Now, as I straighten my leg, I want to do another action with that, which is internally rotating this leg, which means that I want to turn my leg down as if I wanted to look at the floor with my leg, with the front part of my leg. So as you can see now, with my leg, I'm watching at the camera. Do you see my foot pointing at the camera? Can you see that? Now, I want to internally rotate, which means that I want to watch down with the entire leg. And this creates a rotation here on my hips, which creates a much stronger stretch. So what I want to do here is to turn this leg down, and by doing that, I'm going to push this hip forward. Can you see that? Can you see the difference? Can you see how my hip, this hip creates the stretch now? Of course, if I anterior pelvic tilt, etc. But now I'm trying to increase the stretch, okay? So if the hip is here, I feel a certain amount of stretch. But if I turn, as you can see here, my hip is coming forward, and this creates a much harder stretch. All right, can you see that? Now from this position, of course, I do want to anterior tilt, and I do want to go down with my body. And this is the first progression. Wow, this is really intense, guys. And I love this. I love this because I'm feeling this in the glutes. And a lot of people don't feel that because they're not paying attention to the correct technique. Now, another way you can increase the stretch is by moving this foot right here. So as soon as you can do this, and you can go down, you can touch your front leg, try doing this. So you do want to come back in the starting position. Of course, still your hip and your front knee will be on the yoga blocks, all right? Now from this position here, you do want to shift, and you do want to move your front foot in line with your front knee. As you can see now, I have a 90-degree angle here on my knee. All right, now the same. I anterior tilt, and I want to go down with my body. But first I want to straighten my back leg as much as I can. Now guys, another concept. You don't want to straighten the posterior leg the first time you try that. It's impossible. You do want to do that little by little, all right? So let's assume you start from here, all right? So this is your level of flexibility. This is your flexibility level here. And of course, you can't straighten your back completely first time you try, all right? So you gotta do that little by little. And by doing that, I mean that this hip, you gotta push this hip forward. This is your major key point here. So this hip forward, all right? As soon as you do that, you're gonna feel the stretch. And little by little, you do wanna straighten as much as you can, of course, little by little. And then until you can straighten it all the way. Now I'm feeling this here a lot, even if I don't bring my body forward, because I'm placing my hips correctly. And now you do want to stay here. As you can see, the foot is aligned with the knee, and I am in the stretch. Now you start here, you anterior tilt, and then as you are more comfortable, you go down with your body, and you feel the stretch more and more and more. Now guys, also if I stay here, can you see how by moving this hip, I'm creating the stretch? So it's not mandatory that you go down with your body, okay? You can feel the stretch even if you stay on top, even if you stay perpendicular to the floor with your body, and you just turn your back hip into the stretch, then you're gonna feel the stretch right there. Now, as soon as you get comfortable in the stretch and you kind of feel that you can stay there, try this exercise on floor without the yoga blocks under your hip and your front knee. So you do want to start in the exact same position but on floor. Of course, here I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna bend, of course, just to start. I wanna bend the front leg, of course. And then from here, I anterior tilt, all right? And I wanna bring my body down. But what should I do? I should straighten this leg first and move my back hip forward. So I wanna move this hip forward, and I do wanna straighten the leg, internally rotating, which means that I wanna watch down with my leg. Can you see the difference? External rotation, internal rotation. The internal rotation is pushing my hip forward, which creates more stretch here. This is just how the body moves, all right? So I wanna go here, and of course, I wanna feel the stretch, and I can go down little by little, of course. I wanna maintain a straight back. I don't wanna do this and go down only with the flexion of my spine, because as you can see here, if I go down like this, I'm not closing the angle between my body and my leg. I first want to close the angle there, all right? So I wanna close the angle, but as soon as you go down, make sure that you feel the stretch, because a lot of people just lose the activations as they go down. So you want to keep the activations in place. You want to keep this, and you do want to go down, keeping everything in place. All right, as soon as you feel comfortable, of course, same. I want to restart here, front foot in line with the front knee again. So I'm here. Now here I like to use some yoga blocks under my hands, so just to raise my trunk up a little bit more under this hand, as you can see here, because I can straighten my body more. Now from this position here, this hip pushed forward, I push. As you can see, I'm pushing my hip forward until I can straighten my leg all the way back. And here you want to imagine like, okay, I do wanna touch the floor with this hip, which is really hard, guys, which is really hard. Some people can do that, I can't still, but this is my intention here. So I wanna push this hip on the floor, and as soon as I'm here, I already feel the stretch a lot in my glutes, of course, in my hips. And then from here, I wanna go down. As you go down, guys, now last piece of information here. So as soon as you go down, this is really important. A lot of people drive their chest towards the foot, the front foot. They do something like this. And guess what? If you do something like this, you're gonna lose the activation on your hips, because this movement of your trunk just makes the hip, the back hip, pop out the floor. All right? So you do wanna do the opposite, all right? From this position, you do wanna drive your chest towards your front knee, slightly laterally. So something like this. This is a rotation which pulls your back hip further into the stretch. So as soon as you go down, make sure you're going towards your front knee. All right, I feel that, and that your back hip is well pressed against the floor, towards the floor, of course. If you can't touch the floor yet, it will not touch the floor. It will not be pressed against the floor. All right, guys. So the area, a lot of people ask me the area. Where should I feel the stretch? So guys, you should feel the stretch here, the back part of your hip, on your glutes here, slightly more in the external part here, because we are working also on the piriformis, which is a little muscle around the glutes, which is an internal rotation if the hip stays like this. All right, and you're gonna stretch also your piriformis. So this position here, which is known as the pigeon pose. A lot of people just do that like this, as I showed you. So like this, with the leg in external rotation, without following all the pieces of advice we have seen so far, okay? And you of course, you're gonna work on your flexibility, but not on your glutes, not on your piriformis, which is really important here, because as you can see, there are many key points to follow here. And if you follow them correctly, you're gonna get an amazing stretch for your hips. All right, guys? So with that said, that's a tutorial. You can use a lot of techniques to improve this position here and to further increase your stretch. And I can explain to you these techniques in my flexibility course, which is a course where I teach you how to stretch, every methodology, every kind of concept you gotta follow to master your flexibility, okay? And you can have a 20% off today if you sign up following the link in the description down below. All right, guys, so if you give this exercise a go, if you know the pigeon pose, but you weren't aware of all the details, all the key points we've explored so far, please leave a comment down below and ask questions, because I'd be really happy to answer to all your questions down below. If you enjoyed the content as well, click the like button and help me grow this YouTube channel. It means a lot to me, guys, all right? With that said, that's all from the Flexibility Guy, Coach Elia. Have a nice stretch and see you in the next video.